Good afternoon, teacher and classmates. Today we're going to present to you our investigation about how to be fluency. Okay, what is fluency? Fluency is the flow and efficiency with which you express your ideas, particularly where speaking it is necessary to define the terms EFL and ESL. What is EFL? The abbreviation EFL stands for English as Foreign Language. EFL refers to the students of the English language in a country that does not speak English by contrast. And what is ESL? And English is spoken worldwide. It is very necessary to be fluent while speaking the language. ESL students require different approach to address their individual need. Language, their ruler of language is key for them. But ESL and EFL help students become professional to do English as a language. It helps by many English speakers of different language. The first question asked was how important is exercise your mouth muscle to have a good pronunciation and be fluently. Were asked 33 people, where 19 people said it is very important, 12 people somewhat important, and only 2 people respond that is not important. As a conclusion, we can say that people believe that it's important to perform exercise with the muscles of the mouth to have a better fluency when speaking. Some recommendation we can give you are for people who believe that it is not good to do mouth exercise for good pronunciation and fluently. Repeating sounds that are difficult for you while watching yourself in the mirror to improve vocalization. And finally, touching the nose and chin with tip of the tongue, flaring and twirling with the tongue.
Now, following with the next question, we have the question number 2. The question number 2 says, how many times do you practice your speaking English with someone else per day? For these questions, we had 3 options. The first one is once, the second one is twice, and the third one is 3 or more times per day. As we can see from the pie chart, the majority of the students answered once and twice per day. That is to say that the 40% of the students speak with someone else once per day. The another 40% speak with someone else twice per day, and the rest of the students, the 20% of the students, speak with someone else 3 times or more per day. Now, the survey results indicate that just 7 students speak and practice their speaking skills with someone else at least 3 times per day. As we mentioned before, an important and essential part to become fluent in English is to practice the speaking skills. And according to our research, a person who wants to master the English must to practice their speaking skill at least 4 times per day. And as we can see from the pie chart, the students of our level don't reach this aspect. So, as recommendation, the students of fifth level English major should take advantage of all the opportunities that they have. A good idea is to practice with a group of classmates. And also, there are several apps and websites where you can find people uh, who want to help you to improve your English skill. Just don't forget to protect your personal information. Now, let's continue with the question number 3. The question number 3 was, how often do you practice the next activities? The activities were singing karaoke, watching movies or series, listening to music, and listening to audiobooks. For this question, we use an Ikar scale. For each activity, the student had to choose if they do the activity always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. Now we get these results. The first result is about singing karaoke, and it shows that the majority of the students do this activity usually. The second pie chart is about watching movies or series, and it's clear that the most of the students watch movies usually and always. The pie chart number 3 is about listening to music, and the survey results indicates that the more than the half of the students listening to music always. Now, finally, the last pie chart is about listening to audiobook. As we can see in the results, this activity is not too popular because the majority of the students choose the option often with 34.4%. Now, we can conclude that the favorite activity for the learners is the listening to music. The second one is watching movies. The third place is for the singing karaoke, and the least favorite definitely is listening to audiobooks. Now, as we mentioned before, the listening skills are very important if you want to be fluent in English. That is to say, that is necessary to do activities which help us to improve our abilities. In our findings, we got that the best activity to improve our listening skill is watching movies. Luckily, this activity is too common in our classes. Now we are going to continue with the next questions.
The question 4 says, how important is to practice and learn with a native English tutor? The options were extremely important, somewhat important, and neutral. Just 7 students answered neutral. As we can see, the 40% of the students think it's extremely important to have a tutor. According with Lingua Language Center, a native English tutor can give a feeling of total immersion of the language, even without the students released. They can write and record personalized and updated hearing material and find authentic material in the language. In conclusion, most of the students consider it important to learn with an English native tutor because this person has the knowledge that can help them to correct mistakes and feel safer speaking English. My suggestion is searching for a native English tutor. It can be an online tutor. Also, in Otavalo, there are a lot of foreign people, and you can make friends and practice English. The last question was, how often do you practice with these resources to improve your reading skills? The resources were books, magazines, news, and articles. For this question, we use an ICAR scale for each activity. The students had to choose if they practice always, very often, occasionally or rarely, or never. The first pie chart is about books, where we can observe the majority reads books in comparison with the magazines, where 42% of the students read this resource rarely. Now, the next graphic shows that the students prefer reading articles instead of news. The resource is the least used since the majority chose the option occasionally with 39.4%. In conclusion, the preferred source for practicing reading are books, while articles and the least used resources are news and magazines. Now, to improve reading skills, you need to read something you like every day and helps you to be fluent.